Hello and welcome to Twist List. Today we are looking at top 10 fascinating secrets taken to the grave. Taking secrets to the grave is nothing new, and eventually we will all most likely have a few secrets we take with us, perhaps to protect others or maybe to protect our own reputation or legacy. Some secrets, because of the historic consequences, or the attention given to them over the years, turn into a kind of mystery. This list consists of 10 such secrets that have been taken to the great beyond. At number 10 we have Axel Olsson. Olsson started as an alfalfa farmer and started grafting and shaping tree trunks as a hobby. He would later, over a period of decades, train trees to grow into shapes of his own design. He experimented with birch, ash, elm and weeping willows, making loops, hearts, chairs, spiral staircases, zigzags, rings, bird cages, towers, picture frames and ladders. Olsson found his trees to be a popular amusement and decided to create his tree circus. Olsson would not tell anyone the secrets of his techniques and would carry out his graftings behind screens to protect against spies. Olsson died in 1964 along with his amazing secret procedure used to propagate his trees. Interesting fact, in 1985, after the tree circus went out of business, the trees were bought by millionaire Michael Bonafonte and were transplanted in his amusement park Gilroy Gardens in Gilroy, California. The 9th spot on the list is occupied by Jerome. On September 8, 1863, a fescund stranger believed to be in his 20s was found by two fishermen at Sandy Cove in Digby County, Canada. Both of the man's legs had been freshly amputated and a jug of water and some bread had been placed nearby. The man was unable or unwilling to speak and is said to have uttered no more than 2 or 3 words after being found. One of the words was thought to have been Jerome, and he was soon given that name. Jerome was filled with rage when certain words were spoken, which led many to believe Jerome was carrying some kind of secret that he was not allowed to say. Jerome conducted himself with dignity, and when offered money he would appear humiliated. There are many theories to who Jerome really was, but no story has ever been proven. Jerome died April 19, 1912. Interesting fact, Jerome continues to be part of the collective psyche of the community where he was found. A residence for the handicapped has been named after him. Songs have been written about him, and he has also been depicted in paintings and a film. Number 8 on our list is the female stranger. During the fall of 1816 in Alexandria, Virginia, two people, a man and his wife, walked into the Gadsby's Tavern Hotel. The woman was ill and it was thought she was suffering from typhoid fever. The woman's condition continued to deteriorate despite being attended by one of Alexandria's doctors. The husband then summoned the doctor and hotel staff and even the owner's wife to the room to ask a very unusual request. He asked that everyone present swear an oath never to reveal their identities. All agreed and each took the secret to the grave. Several days after the oath was taken, the female stranger died, and to this day no one knows their identity. Before disappearing, her husband commissioned an extravagant headstone and buried her at St. Paul Cemetery in Alexandria, Virginia. Interesting fact, the engraving on the headstone reads. At number 7 we have the Leatherman. The Leatherman was a wandering vagrant who traveled in an endless 365-mile circle between the Connecticut and Hudson rivers. He was fluent in French but communicated mostly with grunts and gestures, and dressed in crudely stitched leather from his hat to his shoes. He picked up cigar butts along his way and gratefully accepted offerings of fresh tobacco or cigars that townsfolk would give him as he walked silently through their villages. When asked of his background, he would abruptly end the conversation. He was so reliable in his rounds that people would have extra food ready for him at a certain time every 34 days. It is unknown how he earned money, although one store kept a record of his order: 1 loaf of bread, a can of sardines, 1 pound of fancy crackers, a pie, 2 quarts of coffee, 1 gill of brandy and a bottle of beer. After a blizzard in March 1889, the Leatherman's body was found in his Sawmill Woods cave in Sing Sing, New York. He died from cancer of the mouth, most likely due to tobacco use. His bag was found next to him and contained leather working equipment such as scissors, awls, wedges, a small axe and a small prayer book which was in French. Interesting fact, the Leatherman's tombstone reads, "Final resting place of Jules Bergely of Lyons, France, the Leatherman." However, the story published in the newspaper that claimed to know his real name was later retracted. According to researchers, his identity still remains unknown. Number 6 on the list is Underling. Underling was a Swedish mathematician and professor of mathematics. In 1940, the mathematician broke the German code used for strategic military communications. This accomplishment is considered by many to be one of the greatest achievements in the history of cryptography. Using only teleprinter tapes and ciphertext, he deciphered the code that the Germans believed impossible to crack in just 2 weeks. Berling created a device that enabled Sweden to decipher German teleprinter traffic passing through Sweden from Norway on a cable. When Berling was asked how he broke the code, he replied, "A magician does not reveal his secrets." Interesting fact, Berling code breaking allowed Swedish authorities to know about Operation Barbarossa, the code name for Nazi Germany's invasion of the Soviet Union, before it occurred. The 5th spot on the list is occupied by James Black. James Black was an Arkansas blacksmith and the creator of the original Bowie knife designed by Jim Bowie. Bowie was already famous for knife fighting from his 1827 sandbar duel. But his killing of 3 assassins in Texas and his death at the Battle of the Alamo made him, and the blacksmith's knife, legends. Black's knives were known to be exceedingly tough yet flexible. Black kept his methods for creating the knife very secret and did all of his work behind a leather curtain. Many claim that Black rediscovered the secret to producing Damascus steel, which is a type of steel used in Middle Eastern sword making from 1100 to 1700 that could cut through lesser quality European swords. The original techniques to make James Black's knife cannot be duplicated even today. Black died on the 22nd of June 1872 in Washington, Arkansas. Interesting fact, in 1839, shortly after Black's wife's death, he was nearly blinded when his father-in-law and former partner broke into his home and attacked him with a club, having objected to his daughter having married Black years earlier. After the attack, Black was no longer able to continue in his trade. Number 4 on the list is Edward Leeds Kalman. Edward Leeds Kalman was a Latvian emigrant to the United States and amateur sculptor. Leeds Kalman single-handedly built the monument known as Coral Castle in Florida and is also known for his unusual theories on magnetism. Leeds Kalman was only 5 feet tall and weighed 100 pounds and aligned many of his stones astronomically and integrated them into a grand architectural plan based on mathematical and astronomical data. Leeds Kalman used only simple tools to cut, trim and assemble over 3 million pounds of dense coral blocks to build his castles. When asked, "How did you build the castle?" he replied, "It's not difficult really, the secret is in knowing how." When Leeds Kalman moved his coral castle 10 miles away to Homestead, Florida, he asked the trucker to look away when it came time to load and unload the coral stones. Leeds Kalman died from malnutrition due to stomach cancer in 1951 at the age of 64 without ever revealing his secret. Interesting fact, Billy Idol wrote and recorded the song Sweet 16 and filmed the video in the coral castle. The song was inspired by the story of Leeds Kalman's former love, Agnes Scuffs, who is believed to be the main reason Leeds Kalman built the coral castles. At the 3rd place we have Johan Destler. Johan Destler was born in Zittau, Germany and built a machine that he claimed was self-moving. By 1717, he had convinced thousands of people, from the ordinary to the most prominent, that he had indeed discovered the secret of a self-sustaining mechanism. The machine underwent numerous tests and passed rigorous inspections. It was made to do heavy work for long periods, and in an official test it ran continuously for 54 days. The internal design of the machine was always closely guarded by its inventor. Plagued by paranoia and a nasty temper and with no patent laws to protect him, Destler destroyed the machines in a fit of anger and took his secret to the grave. The true motive power behind Destler's demonstrations, and the energy source which moved the wheel's internal weight, still remain unexplained. Obviously, a machine like this violates the law of conservation of energy, which states that energy can never be created or destroyed, but it should then be asked, how did Destler fool so many people for so many years? Interesting fact, recently, a series of coded features has been discovered among various papers published by Destler. He constructed a variety of codes from very simple to very complex, which would in time could be collected together to reveal his secret. Some of these codes have been solved, but many others remain undeciphered. At the 2nd spot is Benjamin Franklin. Benjamin Franklin is one of the most well-known founding fathers of the United States. Other talents included author, printer, satirist, political theorist, politician, scientist, inventor, civic activist, statesman and diplomat. In 1730, Franklin acknowledged an illegitimate and only son, William. He was raised by his father Ben and his common-law wife Deborah Rhea. Some of the many theories speculated is that the reason for not disclosing William's mother is the couple was not married when William was born, and Franklin wanted to take all of the blame so as not to allow any dishonor to come to Deborah. Other evidence suggests his mother was a prostitute. William's mother's official identity still remains unknown. Interesting fact, in 1752, when William was 21, he assisted his father in the famed kite experiment. William later became a steadfast loyalist throughout the Revolutionary War despite his father's role as one of the most prominent patriots during the conflict, a difference that tore the two apart. And finally, at number 1, Antonio Stradivari. Stradivari was an Italian crafter of stringed instruments such as violins, cellos, guitars and harps. For centuries scientists and historians have tried to figure out Stradivari's secret to his instrument making. Recently modern research tools and devices such as scanning lasers are aiding researchers in testing the theory that the careful shaping of belly and backplate, in order to tune their resonant frequencies, could be an important factor. Glues and varnishes used by Stradivari have also been analyzed extensively and could also attribute for the sound and quality of his instruments. Experts concede there remains no consensus on the single most probable factor to explain the superior sound of the Stradivarius, and most likely it is some combination of all, and something not yet recognized. Interesting fact, it is estimated that Stradivari made around 1,100 instruments. Today only 650 instruments remain, including approximately 500 violins. Contributor, Blogball. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video and would like to see more, then please hit the subscribe button.